For some reason, people started to respect my word a lot more just by being louder, just by speaking louder. The same elements of a person who is tired can be found in a person that is super confident and grounded. It has a very similar vibe because you're comfortable enough to experience life for yourself. If you are not at that point yet, try to create a vibe around it and you will seem just as confident. I believe that no authentic state of being in this world can be forced, and confidence is no exception. When you are shy, something inside you sees in being shy some sort of benefit or purpose, even when you consciously don't realize that. And that's nothing shameful at all. That's just how our human brains function, and society is still at a point of not realizing that, which brings a lot of blaming and shaming of the self. That's also a reason why I will not tell you in this video how to actually become confident, even though that's a good point. But instead, I will give you some advice on how to walk that bridge from unconfident to confident in the disguise of confident. Because let's be honest, being confident can bring you very far in life and in social settings especially. But as I said, nothing true and authentic in this world can be forced, and we tend to be harsh on ourselves anyway. So if you're actually trying to become more confident, remember that fundamental changes are a journey and not a race. And the following are just some tips which can help you navigate a bit better on that journey when you don't feel at your most confident, but want or need to come across as it. Generally speaking, there are three core elements through which confidence, or the lack thereof, is usually communicated to other people. This is your voice, your body and your body language, and your face, especially your eyes. Depending on the situation you're in and what the situation gives, try to focus on at least one of these elements. And a little important side note here, I compiled this list based off of my own experience, my own observations, what I feel makes me seem more confident, and what I observed in other people making them more confident. The list could be a little different if you have experiences with this topic as well, or you can actually even add things to the list. Speak louder than you normally would, even if you cannot word the things you want to say, or you cannot or don't want to be direct. But I realized that if I speak louder than I need to, or than I normally do, for some reason people started to respect my word and what I said a lot more, just by being louder, just by speaking louder. I don't mean shouting or screaming, I just mean give your voice more energy. I don't know why I started speaking louder like right now myself. But people react to that, even if they don't realize that. Remember, a loud voice takes up more space than a quiet voice. If you are someone who cannot keep eye contact, or if you are in a situation where it's really awkward for you to keep eye contact with a person or to look into somebody's face, try to seem unbothered, uninterested with your body language and your facial expression. When you are uninterested and bored, you are usually not as tense. Being unbothered also kind of, I don't know what it is, it just gives people a more confident aura. It kind of takes away the worry that oftentimes comes with being nervous and being shy. Being unbothered is just on the opposite side of the spectrum where shyness is located. Keep a calm and relaxed body language. Try to avoid things like hectic movements or doodling or fumbling with your nails. I would describe this as a more kind of exhale energy of body language instead of an inhale. When you exhale, you are generally like, this is like the calm movement in which your body and the air that's flowing through your body is kind of directed. It helps you get rid of the extra tension that may, on a micro level, signalize I'm unwell and nervous. Another thing I would add maybe to the unbothered type of thing is the question for you to observe. How are you? Like, how are you behaving? How do you feel? How do you act when you are tired? When you're tired as hell, when you want to sleep like nothing else, how do you behave? How is your body moving? your face? How are your eyes? How is your look when you want to sleep? When you are tired, you have less energy to put up a mask, and people are usually more honest, more relaxed. For some reason, the same elements of a person who is tired can be found in a person that is super confident and grounded, because you are kind of more in touch with your body, you're more comfortable, you are more honest on a certain level, and that gives off a very confident vibe when you are just with yourself, with your feelings. And even when you are not really tired in situations where you feel like you need to be confident, when you're actually wide awake, you can then mimic those specific behaviors or traits to come across as more confident. I said something about your voice before. I want to add something about your language too. You can very much combine these two, by the way, if you want to and if you feel comfortable enough. Use breaks between your thoughts instead of filling words or sounds, especially after concrete words like yes or no. An extra tip, if you are answering questions that can be answered with yes or no, start with these words. Put yes or no at the beginning of a sentence, make it crystal clear from the beginning, because then you are setting the vibe for your answer from the very beginning, and you don't leave any space for rumors or when you're kind of mumbling around the topic before coming to an answer. We don't want to give room to seeming unconfident or stuff. So put that in the beginning and then you can explain. Another thing, if you can't make eye contact, is to observe your surroundings and to look around. As long as you don't look down on the ground too much or all the time, that is kind of a little connected to the unbothered type of thing. You can choose which one fits best to you, which one you can work with better. If it's the unbothered thing or if it's the I'm observing my surroundings thing. It has a very similar vibe because you're comfortable enough to experience life for yourself and by yourself in the moment. Usually people who are not confident cannot do that because they are too bothered with their feelings of nervousness and anxiety, protecting themselves from anything outside of them as well as possible. And here you let loose of that thought, actually stepped out, like mentally you stepped out. That's a whole different vibe. That's like the other end of the spectrum as well. And generally I would say if you are confused and if you're like, okay, I don't want to like put out my list of how to seem confident right now, obviously not. Go with the vibe you want to have. Like, what part of the spectrum are you moving in right now? Okay, one last thing I have on my list, and that's maybe a little next level, and that applies to when you are in actual conversation with a person. We are not always like actively speaking to people in social settings, but we still want to seem confident, like in a room full of people, for example. But when you are speaking to someone, try to ask them questions when you feel comfortable enough and when you feel like the situation is offering that. I know I say the word comfortable a lot here, and I saw a video recently that says that confidence is not comfortable, and that is more true, but we try to look confident here, so that would be another topic, but let's stick with that. When you ask people questions, that means offensive mode. You are in offensive mode. Offensive mode means active energy, which is on the opposite side of being shy. But here's the important thing. As long as you ask loud enough, without hesitation, and make the question seem genuine enough, you can ask nearly anything. So this is oftentimes what we struggle with. We focus a lot on the content that we want to carry, that we want to ask. We are too worried about like the specific question, the specific answer. If you are not at that point yet to deliver the things you want to say directly, try to create a vibe around it and you will seem just as confident. And that is basically how you make yourself seem more confident than you maybe really are. Try to create a vibe around you, around yourself, that delivers the message of, I am actually confident. Yeah, I don't care. I'm not nervous at all. I'm just... I think you get what I mean. But that's actually all I have for you today. That's my list. I'm really curious of what you have to offer me in the comments. And please let me know if this was helpful, because I know a lot of people struggle with confidence, and seeing all these people talking to you, try to convince you on how to become, like try to force you how to become more confident. It's not easy. It's not something that happens like with a snap of a finger, but we are too harsh on ourselves. We try to change ourselves immediately. We don't like who we are. And change is nothing bad. We change all the time. And it's a good sign if you try to change for the better, if it's for you in your own life. But we oftentimes forget the time in between these two places, between like where we're coming from and the destination. The journey has to be managed somehow as well. And for some people this is a temporary solution on how to walk that bridge, as I said, or some people may actually use it in a fake it till you make it type of way, because this can actually lead to becoming more confident without you like realizing it as much. When you apply these things, give off a certain impression, it can happen that this impression actually becomes you after all. But that I leave up to you. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If so, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe, and tell me in the comments if you like videos like that, because I really like talking about these things that often gets swept under the rug. And so Miss Makiko says goodbye, have a good day, and see you in my next video. Goodbye.